happy February, and welcome to Showbiz Buzz with Bruno. I'm Michael Bruno, your host, and it's proudly presented by Mads Theater. And today we're chatting with the lovely and talented Sarah Ward Cassidy, who's representing Verona Area Community Theater. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, first of all, tell us a bit about yourself. How did you get involved with the theater, and where you're from, and all the good details?
Sure. Well, I grew up in the Minneapolis suburbs, Minnetonka, Minnesota, and came down here for college. Was a theater kid growing up, and came down for college and was part of the acting specialist program at UW-Madison, and then decided that probably wasn't going to be able to make it as an actor, so decided to take a different kind of acting route and went to law school instead. And then I've been practicing law ever since at various places around the state of Wisconsin. And about in 2015, my daughter auditioned for a show at Verona Community Theater, and Dee Baldock, who's the founder, caught me at a rehearsal for one of those kids shows and struck up a conversation. And when she found out I had been involved in theater when I was younger, she said, well, you got to come out and audition for a show here. So after a 22-year break from theater between college and then, I hopped back in, and I've been involved with Verona Community Theater ever since.
And are you currently still an attorney, practicing attorney?
I am, yep. I work for the Wisconsin State Public Defender's Office as the Director of Administrative Services.
So are you a trial attorney?
I don't take cases. I support our trial attorneys, but so I've done most of my career in administrative work and policy work. Worked for the Director of State Courts Office for about 15 years, and then came to the Public Defender's Office about 3 years ago.
I've always said that if I wasn't going to be an actor in my life, I'd be a trial attorney, because all it is acting. Well, I mean, you're in front of that jury, and that's an acting job.
It's funny because I think that's why in law school I gravitated toward criminal defense. I loved the public defender's office in law school too, and interned there. And when I got out, I couldn't get a job at the public defender's office. Now we're dying for lawyers, but at the time it was really tough to get a job. So I ended up working for the district attorney's office in Marathon County, and I thought that trial work would be just like being on stage. And what I discovered is, there's a slightly different skill set, and I've never been super comfortable with improv, and there's a lot of improv in trial work. So I went the policy route instead, which has been a great fit for me, but I love supporting our lawyers in the office. So the public defender's office has been great.
And when did you make your jump from being an actress into being a director?
It sort of happened the way I think a lot of things happen at community theaters. We needed a director for a kids show, and I had been around and doing stage managing and helping out in sort of the backstage area. And somebody said, well, what would you think about directing? I said, well, I don't know. I never thought about it before. And then the next thing I knew, I was directing Annie Kids, which was a show at the time of kindergarten through fifth graders, and started there and have just been kind of doing it ever since. So working my way around between a lot of the kids shows and then through some adult shows as well. And it's been fantastic. I wish I had realized a lot earlier how much I liked it. I probably would have spent a lot more time thinking about directing, but it's just been great. Really, really enjoy it.
And talk to me a little bit about Verona Area Community Theater. How did it get started, and where are some of the places they performed in?
Sure.
Just some little details in case people don't know about that.
Absolutely. Well, we celebrated our 30th anniversary this year. It was founded by Dee Baldock, who wrapped me into it along with many, many other people who are there. And for a long time, didn't really have a home base. And then eventually they were able to obtain a sort of garage pole shed type of building in Verona. And for many, many years, the theater operated out of there and performed at various places around Verona. They've been on the Oregon High School stage, kind of bounced around until the theater sort of settled into what was then the high school in Verona at the Performing Arts Center at the high school. Now it's Badger Ridge Middle School. And then in 2017, we opened our brand new building on on Lincoln Street after a multi-year capital fundraising campaign. So we've been there ever since. Still performing at Badger Ridge Middle School now, the Performing Arts Center there, which is a stage that we love. And also now at the new Verona High School Theater, which is an amazing space. And then we were lucky enough when we built the building to also be able to build about 100-seat theater in that building. And so that's where we perform most of our plays are performed in the building there.
And speaking of that, your current play that you've got coming up is a classic play called Children's Hour.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about the show.
Yes. So the show was written in 1934 by Lillian Hellman, and it tells the story of two women who are really close friends who run a girls' boarding school. And one of the girls in the school accuses them of having a relationship, and she tells her grandmother, who then, of course, spreads it around to all the other parents of the school, who all yank their kids from the school and obviously cause these women's lives to be completely destroyed. And so that's the first half of the play. And then in the back half of the play, you get to see sort of the effects of what happens to these two women after this girl's lie just sort of upends their whole life.
And Lillian Hellman wrote this in 1934.
Yes.
And this was an incredibly taboo subject then for her to actually even mention the word lesbianism or mention any kind of homosexuality back then.
Yes.
And then, of course, it was made into two films, which treated it in completely different ways, which I think is interesting. And you're doing the actual original script of the Lillian Hellman's script. Is that right?
Well, I think that the licensing company has tweaked the language a little bit, but for the most part, yes. I mean, I think they've updated some language. The script that I pulled before we licensed the script we have now, it's got some different language. Definitely, you can tell they've tried to update a few things, but for the most part, it is the original script. So yes, definitely different than at least one of the movies.
Yeah, because these three, I mean, it had nothing to do with it at all. It was like, no, she was in love with the man, and she's accused her of sleeping with him. I mean, it's like, wait a minute, what story is this? But because of the Hollywood production code in that time, they wouldn't even touch us. It was made that it even got made.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, the fact that she wrote this in 1934 with this subject, I mean, it really is, it's incredible. And also, I think really, it's sort of sad how many of the themes of the play they're still completely relevant, even though it was written so long ago. So that, to me, is what makes the story really interesting to keep doing.
And especially the power of a lie. I mean, it's like with social media and everything happening now, and with current liars all around making sure that it's like their truth. This really speaks to the whole thing of that things don't change. One little girl's, being mad at somebody, and she tells a lie, and people's lives fall apart.
Yes. I mean, that's what we've been saying before, the power of social media. There was still the power of the rumor mill. You could still pick up a phone and get the information around, and it just spreads like wildfire and can still just take people's lives out.
And tell me about the actors in the show. I know it's always wonderful, having children in a show, but this is a very heavy subject for them, right?
Yes, yeah. I really like working with kids. I know not everyone does. I really enjoy it. And there's so few opportunities for kids to do plays. There's musicals everywhere for kids, it seems like these days, but so few opportunities for them to do dramatic plays. And so that to me was really interesting. I had to make sure that the kids who were coming to audition, that their parents knew what the show was about and felt comfortable with us having discussions about topics that I didn't know if they talked about things in their homes or not. So that's been really great. Great group of kids. 3 of the kids are kids that I've worked with since they were 5, including my own daughter. So I've known her for a while. But a couple of the other kids I've been working with since they were 5. And then we have 2 kids that are newer to VACT, and then one that's sort of been around for a couple years. So it's been great to work with all of the youth actors. And then the adult actors are, again, a group of sort of longtime VACT or local Madison Community Theater actors, and then one who just moved to the area last year and has joined the theater as well. So it's been a great way to get to work with some people I've known for a long time and some new people too.
And that's one of the nice things about it being the Verona area community theater. It's not just people who live and work are in Verona. So there are people from all around Dane County that have been in shows, right?
Yes, yeah, all over the place. Whenever I look at our cast lists and think, who can I tell to come in and watch these shows from all the different communities? And we have people that come from Dodgeville and Evansville and, all the sort of towns around Dane County. A lot of the sort of immediate Dane County, Madison area places, but yeah, all over the place, which that's one of the things I love about the Madison theater community is there's so many great opportunities for local actors, and so it just pulls people in from all over the place.
And just make sure, because I know that, I'm so used to going and seeing shows at the old high school, which is now the middle school, but this production is actually at your new building.
Yes,
it's built,
yes, yep, 103 Lincoln Street in Verona. So this is at our theater at the building. So yep, it's about a 100-seat theater, really nice, intimate theater. So it's a great place to do a play.
And I got to say, I saw a little snippet of it at the Wisconsin One Act Festival, and I will tell you, the costumes are really, really, really wonderful. I think I'm sorry, I don't remember the costumer's name.
Gail Gomach.
Gail did a great job with those costumes.
Yes,
it's a period piece.
Yes,
and sometimes you do community theater and you think, okay, it kind of looks like it's sort of from that one, but she did a beautiful job with those costumes.
Yeah, she's an amazing costumer. Really great to work with. And she just did a fantastic job. We have a pretty big costume loft at the theater, but, it doesn't always have everything you want. And so she did a great job finding costumes for everyone to wear that really are the period. The cast was really into making sure the hair was period and their shoes were period. And the girls are all in a school uniform costume, which I keep joking that, we bought those school uniforms a number of shows ago. And, it's a community theater. We try to save our money. And when we bought those school costumes, I thought, oh, man, are we going to use these again? And we've used them in Matilda. We've used them for this. We've just been using them over and over again. So some things just stick around.
So were you around when they decided to do the Child's Play? Children's Hour. Stop saying Child's Play. Children's Hour. Were you involved in selecting the play?
Yeah, it was actually a show that I really wanted to do. So the last Wisconsin Act Fest that we did pre-COVID, we did The Giver. And we had kids in that show, and it was just an incredible experience for the kids. We went to regionals with that show, and it was such a great experience. And when we finished, I really wanted to try to find another show that we could do that had kids. So I was kind of just put it on the back burner, and then I actually saw Madison Theater Guild did the Children's Hour, and as I was watching it, I just thought that would be a great festival show. I had read it in college and really, really, really enjoyed it then. And it kind of fell off my radar. And so that was the show I thought, well, that's the show to do. And then COVID happened and it sat on the shelf for a while. So when things came back and the festival came up again, we decided to do this show, and it worked out just to work it into our regular season as well and do it for both a festival show and our regular season.
And it's so fascinating because previous to that, there was a community theater show that had done The Bad Seed, which is another one with
Yes.
the evil Patty McCormick, who I just adore. And now you've got Mary in
Yes.
this one, who is another evil little thing. So it's like interesting how it's always like a little girl who's always like the one that's like, that creates all the drama and all the hatred and all the gossiping and lying. So tell me a little bit about your actress who's playing Mary.
So the actress playing Mary is actually my daughter, Erin. So she's gotten a lot of good feedback from me. She is a kid who has loved acting from the time she was little. I never really had any sort of idea that she would like theater. I certainly liked theater, but I was out of it and had been out of it for a long time. And she was the one who kind of sucked me back into it. But she's really just fallen in love with plays in particular. And so we have a great time going to plays and musicals in town. And so when this show came up, she wanted to audition, and I said, well, you can audition, but I'm not going to give you any favoritism just because you're my kid. In fact, it's probably going to be harder for you to convince me that you want the role. But she worked really hard at it, and I think she's tried really hard to play up the sort of dichotomy between this sort of sweet girl who convinces everyone of this lie, and then she's been working the last few weeks really hard on I think being a little bit more evil than she had been playing it. So yeah, I like her. She's a good kid, so I think she's really enjoying the experience quite a bit.
And so tell me a little bit about how did you, when you're there, when do you stop being mom and being the director, and does your guy have to switch those positions? Or you really have to think, okay, I'm not her mom now, I'm her director.
Yeah.
Has that been kind of a challenge for you at all?
I think what I probably do, yes and no. We've been doing theater together for so long now. So she is almost 14, and the first show that she did with Verona Area Community Theater, she was 5. So we've been doing things together for a long time, which is fantastic. So we've kind of hit a good rhythm, I think, of my not pulling punches with her very much. And so the only thing I will say is I think I give her a lot more specific feedback when we're at home. I give notes at the end, and I'll give her some notes, but then I think I go home and give her more notes, which I'm not sure she probably loves. But
Mom!
Yeah. But it's definitely, I think we have a good balance between her realizing she's an actor and is going to get treated the same way as everyone else.
And how do the adults deal with the kids? Your adult actors?
Yeah. I think I always find it funny when I watch people in the productions. We have kids in a lot of shows at Verona Area Community Theater, and some people don't love working with kids, and I think it's never a secret when there's going to be kids in the show. So I say, well, if you join the show and there are kids, then you have to know that it comes with whatever being around kids comes with. And so I think this cast in particular, about half of them have kids, so they at least are used to that. But I think they are all such great actors and great people. They've related really well to the kids. I think that's a bunch of teenage girls, so they're kind of loud and chatty and do all their things. And so, but I think the kids are respectful of the adults, and I think the adults are concerned with making sure that the kids have a good experience, which is something that's really important to me and something that's important to the theater, that the kids that are involved in our shows do have a good experience. And so I think the adults have been great role models for the kids.
And now, since you said, it is a drama.
Yeah.
It's not a musical. So do you find that sometimes it's a little difficult to get people to actually come out and see a drama? It's 3 acts, right?
It is. It's 3 acts, a running time of about 2 hours. Yeah, it is hard. It's hard to think about how to advertise it to get people to come out. It's, I think people, there are so many amazing musicals and so many funny comedies out there. And it's hard to get people to take their time on the weekends and in the evenings to come out and see something that is a drama. I think people like watching musicals anyway, right? A lot of people like musicals. So I think a play in and of itself is a harder sell for some people. And then when you make it a drama, I think it's even more so. So we've been trying to really, focus on this idea that it's got really relevant themes in terms of this idea of spreading a lie and the power of rumor and innuendo and how relevant the themes still are. But it's definitely a harder sell to market a serious play than it is a lighthearted comedy.
Because there's no tap number.
There is no tap number. We keep joking at the end of the show. It ends very powerfully, and it's just a beautiful moment. And then the stage goes dark, and I want that tap number, but it just doesn't fit in.
Well, next time you can do Annie.
Yes, yes.
And you can get all the musical comedy and all the dance numbers you wanted.
Yep. Absolutely.
And so tell us again, what are the dates and times for the show?
Yes. So we open next Thursday, which is February 9th. So we run Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the 9th, 10th, and 11th. And then the following Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which I think is the 16, 17, 18. Mm-hmm. So the Thursday, Friday shows are at 7:30 p.m. And the Saturday shows are both matinees at 2 o'clock.
And tickets are at VACT.org.
Correct.
Right?
Across the top of our website, there is a buy tickets link, and you just head right over there and purchase tickets.
And do you happen to know what's going to be happening in the future? Any future shows that have been set?
Yes, we have lots of fun things coming up. So this spring we always do 2 kids shows a year for little kids and middle school kids. So the little kids show is Lion King Kids, and the middle school show is Little Mermaid Junior. So it's a Disney doubleheader. But then I'm really excited because our high school kids are doing the SpongeBob musical, which I'm really excited about. And then this summer we are doing The Wizard of Oz. So it's sort of a back to a classic this summer.
Wow, no, there's a bunch of costumes there that are going to be fun to do.
Yes. And then we have our shows for next season that we already know. We're doing Disaster, the musical.
I love that.
Yes, very excited about that. And The Wedding Singer. And actually then next summer, you mentioned Annie, not this summer, but the following summer, we will in fact be doing Annie.
I knew it.
It's my favorite. So
And has Dee announced her over 50? Is it 55 plus?
Yes. Thank you for remembering that. Yes, we actually have, this is our second year we're going to be doing, it's a 55 and over only cast. It is the Music Man Senior. I'm sorry, Singing in the Rain Senior.
She already did
Yes,
Music Man.
she did Music Man Senior. So Singing in the Rain Senior. Auditions are actually this coming week on the 7th. And I love that show. I watched the seniors last year when Dee said she was going to start this show for a cast of all 55 and older. I'm not going to lie. I thought, what is she doing? And it was fantastic. I don't think I have seen a group of actors have that much fun in years. So I'm really excited for Singing in the Rain Senior.
And that is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Yes.
I mean, I could watch that, once a month, and I would never get tired of it.
So good.
It's such a great show.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, good. Any other details that we have not covered or that we need to re-emphasize?
I hope people come out and see it. It's a great show. I think this cast is just, they really, they bring me to tears with their performances. They're just amazing. And it's just so much talent in the Madison community. And this cast is part of that group. They are amazing. So I hope people come out and see it.
Excellent. Well, Children's Hour, VACT, go to VACT.org for tickets and information.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you.
Best of luck with everybody. I know you're in Tech Week, right?
Yes, coming up. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot. See you next time.